Happy holidays to everybody. I've got Jeff Clark on the line with me, the Chief Precious Metals Analyst at GoldSilver.com. Jeff, how are you doing?
Great, Mike, and happy holidays to you too and to all our viewers. It's been quite an interesting year, huh?
Totally bizarre. Just the freakiest year ever. But I feel like I've spent the last 10 years sort of getting prepared for this. And I actually more than that, the last 15 to 20 years getting prepared for this. And so I feel like I'm in a better position, and that gives me a little bit of comfort. I hope a lot of our viewers out there feel the same way with the decisions that they've made over the past few years. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm sure many people have. So,
Yeah.
well,
So,
Mike, let me
what do
throw
you got for me as far as questions?
yeah, let me throw one news item out at you, and then we'll kind of get into some holiday themed things. But the big news right now this week was the new stimulus bill was passed. And there's an article that we'll throw up on the site about this. But I want to bring your attention, Mike, to one particular thing that I thought was very interesting. And that is, even though this bill is passed, before the ink is even dried, Joe Biden is already saying he's going to ask for more. He wants funds now for state and local governments included. And the quote is, many economists and experts warn that without money for states and cities, the recovery will be longer and slower as places are forced to cut jobs and services. Mike, this is a Rubicon moment where we're crossing into something that's completely uncharted, where we're actually going to print currency and give it to states and cities as well. Now, we
Right.
don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what he wants if he gets in office. So, Mike, what do you make of this? Am I bringing too much attention to this, or is this like a Rubicon moment where we're actually going to completely destroy our currency?
Well, I think it is that Rubicon moment. They made one big mistake, the reporters. They said that the states and, local governments need money to get through this. And it's currency. You couldn't do this with money. You can't.
Right.
Money has to be a store of value. You can't create the unlimited quantities of it it's just not possible to create unlimited quantities of money without destroying its value. The difference, this was a viewer that put this in the comments of one of the YouTube things, I believe, videos. He said the difference between 1 and 1 trillion is 12 zeros. And now that we don't print currency, we type it into existence. So it's 12 keystrokes. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is how long it takes to create $1 trillion. Add one more digit, add 3 more digits, and you got quadrillions, and then quintillions and sextillions. And yes, we're going down this road. We have crossed this Rubicon because we have not yet reached a point where something breaks, where something snaps, and we will, in my opinion. I just don't think that they're going to be able to paper this one over. They're going to try, and they're going to dilute the currency and dilute the currency and dilute the currency. But there will come a point where something in the economy snaps. And I am worried about this. We're coming up on a new year. And one of the resolutions that I have is to become more resilient and to try to become anti-fragile. And my greatest wish for all of our viewers is that they consider doing I never give advice, but I think they should consider doing the same. You want to try to make it so that you can really survive on your own. The threats out there, it's uncomfortable to even think about these things. I was just watching a preview of a new documentary that's coming up called Black Start. and it's about the vulnerability of the U.S. power grid and how the entire thing could go down. And if it goes down, a black start where they started up when there is no power is practically impossible. It'll take years, which bombs us back into the dark ages. And then on top of that, recently there was hacking of two very important cybersecurity companies. One being FireEye, that has, teams of white hat hackers. White hat hackers are people that you hire purposely to try to hack your website, hack your company, get into the financials, get into all of the emails, stuff like that. Find vulnerabilities and backdoors. You're paying them to discover this before the black hat hackers, the bad guys. Steal identities, shut off things, abscond with all of your company funds or personal funds. And FireEye was hacked. And because they have this group of top-notch hackers developing all of these tools to hack all of the companies that hire them to test the security of their websites, all of these tools they believe have been downloaded and copied. And at about the same time, a huge company called SolarWind, I believe it is, I may be mistaken on that one, but they are a company that protects more than 400 of the 500 S&P 500 companies. This is a software that you download and you run, and it protects your systems from all these different vulnerabilities and hacking and so on. And it's not just the S&P 500 companies. It's the Defense Department. It's the Energy Department. It's the White House. It's the Pentagon. It's the NSA. It's the CIA. It's everybody. And the hack that was done was they planted they hacked the system, planted a back door in it so that information could be seen and downloaded, emails, without anybody knowing. And this was done way back in like March or something. And so since March, all of these sites, the information has been open for somebody else to see. And the level of this hack was so high that it looks like only a government, the technology behind this, it looks like only a government could fund something like this. So this was a very, very sophisticated thing. And between all of these different vulnerabilities, this is one of the reasons that I own cryptos, but I also own gold and silver. And I've got some gold and silver at home. Very little compared to what I've got in storage that's instantly, it's very liquid and it's very, very secure. But if the internet goes down and your phone wallet isn't working, recently something happened at Google, and for about an hour, there were entire sections of the world where Google wasn't working, no Google products. So all the meetings that were, Google meetings, the email, anything that was hosted by their servers, YouTube, it was all down. There was billions of dollars of commerce that was affected, and there was schools that shut down. There was, and it sort of got buried in the news cycle. This is a really big, big thing. And there's a great series out there. Degogo is the guy that produces it, and I'm trying to think of the name of the video series. We'll post a link below this video. But his last video was about the Google outage. These things are all coming at us very quickly. And when you consider the fact that where we are today in the world with the monetary system, we're making ourselves more and more and more fragile to some big, huge event that can take everything down. And we keep on building this thing bigger and bigger and bigger and make it more and more complex every single day. We add layers to the way society is constructed, the way we all communicate with each other, the way business is done, the way the financial system operates. Everything gets these added layers. Nobody is checking the foundation to see if it is still intact. We just keep on building this thing taller and higher and heavier and more top heavy, and make it more and more complex and fragile. And so my wish for everybody this holiday season, I've made a New Year's resolution to become more resilient. You may want to check out our friends over at peakprosperity.com, Chris Martenson and Adam Taggart. They've wrapped their life around becoming more resilient. By Tuesday, I bought a little ranch. There was no habitable structures because of the hurricane, but by Tuesday, there are going to be 2 little tiny homes. I mean, the place I'm going to move into is only like 400 square feet, but it's temporary until I build my house where I want to build it. But it has solar panels and a Tesla Powerwall battery backup. So we are completely off the grid. We've got seeds. I've got emergency food. We've got our own water supply. There's a river going. I mean, my little house is about 30 feet from a beautiful river that just has some of the most pure water in the world in it because it's up near the very top of Puerto Rico. So I'm personally trying to become much more resilient. But this thing with expanding the currency supply and, it can't work, what they're doing. All it can do is cause more imbalances to build up and stresses in the system. They want to, Biden announces he just wants to place an order for more currency. I want to place an order for more currency. Let's double the currency supply. Let's quadruple it. When something breaks, they're going to be typing not 12 zeros, but 15, 18, 21 zeros. I mean, look for the currency supply. Eventually, we will go into hyperinflation, even though, because there's the standard measures of inflation, the consumer price index, but they're only measuring a few things. They're measuring stuff you buy at the grocery store and a few other things. They eliminate food. No, they eliminate food and energy out of the core CPI, the things we need to survive. They only include the things we don't need. But I have when I wrote my book, so I came up with this, and I never published it. I should have. It was cut from the book. But there was a piece where I started going through. It's comical when you go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and other places in the government, all the different measurements of inflation, because they've got a couple dozen. And then there's when you go to Social Security, the way they calculate the increase in Social Security each year, they take the COLA and they deduct it from the PIA, and then they use the CPI U6 or whatever. And I don't know what it is. It's just crazy insane. So I came up with my own measurement of inflation that covers everything. And it's based on this premise. Every dollar created has to go somewhere. And so I came up with CUP inflation, CUPP, currency units per person. So you take the quantity of currency, all the dollars that they create, divided by the number of people that exist. And that is the true measure of inflation, because if it's not inflating things at the grocery store or the gas station, it's inflating real estate or the stock market. Or if it's not inflating any of those things, it's inflating savings. Every dollar has to go somewhere, and there is such a thing as savings inflation. And you can see it right now on all of the monetary statistics. MZM went north, now it's going south, because people that have money market funds are starting to get worried that they may need instant access to their currency. So thanks to a YouTuber named Belang P, he showed that what is happening isn't the Fed's balance sheet hasn't been increasing with the quantity of M1 that has increased. What's happening there is currency is flowing from MZM to M1. It's flowing from certain currency aggregates where it takes time to get your currency if the bank or the Federal Reserve wants to impose this time restriction. Right now they don't, so it's called money of zero maturity. It's currency of zero maturity, which means it's instantly available. But some of those aggregates that are in there, some of the money market funds and such, they can, during a bank run or something like that, they can impose restrictions and delays on getting your funds. And so you can see big, well-informed people, financial entities that are now moving their currency from monetary aggregates that may become encumbered to ones that they think are instantly available, just regular deposits at the bank. And that's the reason that that M1 has exploded recently, not because the Fed created those dollars, but because big, well-informed entities are getting ready for something. So between all of this, I just want to suggest to everybody that they may want to consider becoming more resilient to everything, because we could end up in a position where we're truly on our own. And you want to make sure, can you survive on your own? What happens if the grid goes out? What happens if the internet goes down? What happens if there's a solar flare and we have, a magnetic storm and the grid goes down because of something that isn't a hacker, or it's just a natural thing? There was one in the 1880s that if that was to that took down the telegraph system. If that was to happen today, it would blow all the transformers in the whatever hemisphere that is pointing toward the sun at the time. And so if that happened to the United States, all the transformers would go, and it would take years to rebuild the system if you had the energy to create the transformers and move the transformers. And without the energy, you got some problems. So for everybody, I would say, these are tail risks, but we're getting to the point, we've made this thing so fragile. I'm preparing for potential tail risks. I'm going to be ordering bags of like silver dimes for myself, just as an emergency currency. And in the rural area that I will be living soon, I should be able to organize local farmers and stuff to trade amongst themselves. And we do have our own water source. And so become more resilient. So this thing with the government requesting more currency, and I say the government because it doesn't matter which party is in power. When things get bad, they're going to create a bunch of currency, and it doesn't matter what party it is. There's going to be a bunch of currency created, and something, one of these days, with everything that's happening and their response to the global health problem that's out there right now, was the wrong one. They shouldn't, when you look at yes, it is many times more contagious. It's like 3-point-something times more contagious. It's a 1.4 is the R naught of the regular flu, and this new global health problem is 2.5, meaning for each person that catches it, they get 2.5 more people sick. So that's the contagion. But you have to eliminate yourself out of that equation. So you're taking 1.5 and dividing it by 0.4. I think you end up with something like 3.75 times more contagious. And then it is more deadly for people that are over 70, but not for people under. When it's something that we should not have closed down the global economy for. What we've done is introduce, just for the profit of some big drug companies, we've introduced something that will cause something to break sometime soon. And when it breaks, it's not going to be with warning. It's going to snap suddenly, and the whole system will be shut down. So get ready for it. I am. So anyway, that's it. You can count on them creating more currency, lots more currency, which means
wow.
higher prices for gold and silver.
Yeah, that was a great rant, Mike.
Sorry it went so long
there. So thank you. I just want to point out that, there is good news in all this. There's always opportunity in crisis, right? And we can all take positive steps to prepare for these things. And you're no worse off if they don't happen. So we can all get out of the fiat currency system to a certain degree. We can all, become more resilient, start a garden, something for all of us to think about. Again, the good news, focus on the things that you can do, that you can control. So that's
I wish everybody a happy, prosperous new year coming up. But, I've heard there was an old Bewitched episode back in the 60s, or maybe that was the early 70s. I don't remember. But Ben Franklin was in it. And he was saying, that he's not an optimist or a pessimist. He always hopes for the best, but prepares for the worst.
Right. That's a good theme. Exactly. Right. Well, Mike, let me throw one more question out at you before we end this video. And that's this. I know you don't like to make predictions, and we've talked about some different things you think might be coming. But Mike, is there anything that you're fairly confident is going to happen next year in 2021? Maybe not a prediction, but something that wouldn't surprise you to see happening in whether it's society or with our currency or money, with the market.
I don't know if things will snap. If this thing that I'm talking about, where the financial system, the electrical grid, the internet, where something just completely snaps all of a sudden. I don't know if that will happen in 2021 or not. I do believe that it is out there, and it'll probably happen within the next 3 years. However, I can almost guarantee you that they're going to keep on expanding the currency supply. This is going to happen. So the original question ties right into this question. The prediction is that the currency supply is going to be a lot larger by the end of 2021 than it is at the end here of 2020. It's going to be a lot larger. Will it be multiples? Most likely.
Yes. And gee, I wonder what asset we should own to protect against an ever-expanding, grossly diluted currency, right, Mike?
As long as we have electricity and the internet in a stable, robust condition, I do believe that cryptos will do well, and that's simply because the crowd that's under 40, especially the ones under 30, they see virtual assets as real as physical assets. And, I don't. I still like something that has weight and volume to it that I can hold in my hand. But precious metals have been money for the last 2,500 years. They've been the predominant currency for 5,000 years. They have never gone to zero. They vary in a range of purchasing power. And right now, their purchasing power is very low compared to all the stuff that we have on this planet, simply because we've created so many other places to store our wealth: bonds, stocks, currency, cryptocurrencies. There's competing, it used to be the gold and silver buy relatively the same amount that they used to, back in ancient Roman times, a little more, a little less. Right now it's less. However, the amount of stuff there is per person is 1,000 times more. And if you've got the same amount of gold per person, roughly, then gold should be purchasing 1,000 times more stuff, or at least a few hundred times more stuff. Why doesn't it? Because value, purchasing power, is being stored in all of these competing financial assets, liquid financial assets. And there, if we have any of these technical issues, breakdown of the monetary system, a disruption of the internet, or power, then all of those financial assets, the hocus pocus financial assets, go poof, and all of the wealth is transferred to the holders of the precious metals at that ratio. You know, it might be 200 to 1, might be 1,000 to 1. I have no idea. I believe it is episode 2 or it's episode 3, I think, of episode 3 of the top 10 reasons I buy gold and silver. So watch it. It's a countdown. It starts at number 10, goes all the way down to number 1. And I did make, just to let everybody know, it's one thing I forgot when I did that countdown. I think number 2 or 3, number 7 or 8 or 9 is that gold and silver come with a central bank guarantee.
Yes.
And I forgot to say that the guarantee is that they're never going to stop printing currency. They will always print more currency. And so
until the system breaks, right? Yeah, exactly. We'll link to that video series. It's a great series. They're 2 or 3 minutes each, is all each one is. It's a great countdown. And yes, that it's a few years old now, but that's exactly what you said. That it comes with a central bank guarantee, gold and silver. So that's great. So, well, Mike, as we wrap this up, I'm gonna grant you a wish for 2021. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one wish, and you can say whatever you want. But this question is, if there's something you could change in society or the markets or with our currency, whatever it is that would come true, what would it be? What would your one wish be that you would hope would happen?
Wow. That's a biggie. And you know, you can have a wish that's impractical and it's not going to come true. You can also have a wish that does have that possibility of coming true, where it's within the realm of possibilities. And there's a brilliant man out there, Dan Larimer. He has developed the most useful cryptocurrencies on the planet. His whole life is built around consensus, people agreeing to say that what is. That, you know, even if you disagree, you can say, okay, we all agree that 49% disagree and 51% agree. You can set that in stone. His whole life has been built around consensus, fair consensus. And he wrote an article a few months back outlining a new way to organize society. Basically, right now, the governmental approval is less than 30%. More than 7 out of 10 people think the government is doing a bad job. Congressional approval and so on. He came up with a system where we can reverse that, and we can get much better government, much better protection for all of us, and you know, less self-serving politicians, less cronyism and skimming off the top, and all of that. And so I wish that we could have a fairer, more moral society. And I do believe that this is possible. So when Dan Larimer is going to be coming out with a book, and when he does, everybody should buy it. In the meantime, do a search for his articles. Maybe we'll be able to post a link below the video here. And you can see how this election process eliminates all corruption. It eliminates, you know, right now, what we do is we get the best politicians that are at the best at telling us what we want to hear. And we have all of these special interest groups funding everything and plowing tons of funds into, and then the media skewing things and picking our candidates for us, and a two-party system that just isn't working. And this is a system that will work, and it'll get us the most qualified people to run things, because we do need a system where we delegate the responsibility of voting for every law and so on. Nobody has the time to do all of their work that we all do and still know everything about every law that is going to be passed, everything that, the way society is going to be organized. So a representative government is pretty much necessary in order to have a government. But how do you have a fair government where it doesn't get corrupted? Dan Larimer has come up with these brilliant answers to the root, the problem that is the root cause of most of the really large problems in society. And so I would urge people, when he comes out with his book, buy it, and then take a look at his articles on how to organize elections. So, and become a part of it. When I read his article, I tweeted him right away, and I said, sign me up, I'm in.
Yeah. Right. You're kind of writing the forward to that book, I think, with your comments there, Mike. So
yeah, I'm just about
very good.
Well, actually, he asked me to write the forward, so I am. I'm just about done with it.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's great. Great. Well, that's very good input. My wish is very simple, and that is that I wish more and more people would own physical gold and silver, because, like you said for years, Mike, and I've worked with Mike side by side here for years since I've come over to GoldSilver, and I can tell you firsthand that he's very genuine. He really does want to educate people. He really does want to help people. He really does want to save as many people and help them prepare for what's coming as possible. And that's kind of the idea. The more of us that are prepared, maybe the worse it is, and maybe the more we can help other people and be part of the new society that is going to come, whatever that may be and whatever it may look like. So my wish is that we make sure all of us are fully prepared, and then help as many others be fully prepared, starting with owning physical gold and silver. So that's my plan anyway.
We used to have a saying at goldsilver.com. I mean, I started this to try to save the middle class. Our saying was saving the middle class one investor at a time, because the middle class determines how the middle class usually is about 70% of any modern society, any prosperous first world society. And as the middle class votes, so goes the nation. And so when you see really bad economic times, that's one of the things that leads to the rise of dictators and despots. And so in order to save the country, in order to save capitalism, in order to save prosperity, we have to save the middle class. And so that was one of the reasons for GoldSilver. And one of the things I want to say to all of my insiders out there is, I often talk about investing being a team sport. And I feel like it's a team. When you have a group of people, we've been buying gold and silver in the anticipation that they're going to go up. And they have. I mean, I started buying when the spot price was $350 an ounce on gold. So it's been the best performing asset this decade. But as this goes forward, the more people, and my insiders are a group of people that are mostly buy and hold people. They don't get spooked out of it easily. They accumulate more. And I'll be making one more insider video before the end of the year here. But I feel like we are a team, and when people accumulate, it does drive the price up. When there's more buyers than sellers, the price rises. So This is a team effort. There will come a day where you want to take some of your profits and convert that into other asset classes that would be undervalued. But right now, we're nowhere near that day. And so the insiders get to know what I'm doing, and we should start telling them what you're doing too, Jeff. So anyway.
Yeah, sure.
That's
Well,
it.
this has been great, Mike. This is a little long video, more longer than we usually do. So
Yeah.
thanks for weighing in on all this, and thanks for watching. And I just want to say thanks to everyone out there for taking responsibility and making sure that you're prepared for what's ahead so that we can help other people. So, Mike, thank
Okay.
you for such a great year. Thank you for 2020 and all the good things that the company did. So I wish you a happy holiday season, and I wish that same to everyone, every single viewer and customer of ours. So happy holidays, Mike, and everyone.
Happy holidays to everyone out there, all the viewers. I wish you a prosperous and happy and healthful new year. We'll see you next time.